British Columbia Institute of Technology acknowledges that our campuses are located on the unceded traditional territories of the Coast Salish nations of Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh.
Good afternoon, I'm Raisin Velasco with your news to 3:30. Breaking news happening in half an hour. The Vancouver Canucks have the highest odds of landing the first overall pick in the NHL draft lottery. Vancouver has never picked first at the draft. Canada's Gavin McKenna and Sweden's Ivar Stenberg are two players who could go first on June 26th. The BC provincial government is aiming to position more tradespeople to get their red seal. The goal comes after a $6 billion investment into fast-tracking internships program was announced. BCIT's Noah Horn has more.
Trade veterans are leaving their boots to be filled by a new wave of skilled workers. About 700,000 tradespeople are expected to retire by 2028, and the need for work is outmatched by those exiting the workforce. Apprenticeship programs are expecting to turn out new skilled workers in 50% less time through tighter schedules and the slashing of breaks and time between terms. Robertson says,
I think it's all about having the financial support, the support from employers as well, to make sure that the training can run all the way through without breaks, without taking off terms or chunks of the year.
The investment is going to be spread out among students and employers to create more streamlined training in order to create up to 100,000 skilled workers. When asked about the timeline of the plan, Robertson could not provide any comment. Noah Horn, BCIT News.
A gray whale has been hit by a jet ski at a Vancouver beach last night. The jet ski flew in the air for several meters after the hard hit. The collision was captured on video from multiple angles. The condition of the whale remains unclear, while the driver was taken to the hospital. Surrey Police says officers were called to a building complex near the intersection of 130 Street 3 p.m. Monday after a man is killed in a daylight shooting on a busy street in Surrey. Officers and paramedics attempted life-saving measures, but the man was declared dead at the scene. Homicide investigators have now taken over the case, and they are asking anyone with information to contact the police. The sweaty palms, the parallel parking anxiety, the examiners with a clipboard about to decide your fate as a driver. If you're anxious getting your full license this summer, you might not have to. According to ICBC, they are scrapping the final Class 5 road test. Some will celebrate the lack of stress, others point out the possible concerns. Reporter Adam Wang has the story.
For decades, the Class 5 was the final boss for all the BC drivers. It was the last test to prove you understand how to handle a vehicle and becoming an official driver. Now that is being removed if you have a clean record with an in license for a year. However, many citizens believe just because you have a clean record doesn't mean you're a good driver. We went to speak with a local insurance agent to see how skipping this step, which was once viewed as the most important part of becoming a driver, will affect the road. For BCIT News, I'm Adam Lang.
Prime Minister Mark Carney says retired Supreme Court Justice Louise Arbour will become Canada's next Governor-General.
Across more than 5 decades in every role she's held, the Honourable Louise Arbour has carried the same conviction, that a free society depends on institutions properly being held to account, that the law stands between power and the powerless, that the dignity of every person should not be a product of the accidents of geography, citizenship, or convenience.
Vancouver Mayor Ken Sims says he's moving an urgent motion to block the planned opening of a new downtown overdose prevention site. Vancouver Coastal Health announced the opening of the new site in Vancouver City Centre on Monday. The site will be operated by social services provider Rain City Housing starting June 1st. The new location offers outdoor spaces for observed inhalation, described as the most common method of drug consumption. The Saskatchewan government is launching a postcard survey to determine next steps on a possible social media ban for children. Premier Scott Moe says his government wants to hear directly from residents about limits for those under 16. Moe says the postcards ask whether there should be restrictions or at least some flexibility for parents to provide consent.
We want to know what Saskatchewan people think. Specifically, we want to know what Saskatchewan parents and families think. And so I would say this directly to families and parents across this province, is your input is important.
Now on gas prices, it's still beginning to increase again as the war continues. Energy experts says that even once the war ends, it will take months for gasoline prices to return to pre-war levels. ABC's Alex Stone says the impacts are becoming truly noticeable for the average driver who fills up once or twice a week.
At the current national average of $4.48 a gallon, filling up an F-150 truck, it now costs over $103. A smaller SUV is $30 more expensive every fill-up than it was before the war in Iran. And in many areas of the country, prices are much higher than the average. Gas Buddy's Patrick DeHaan says even worse could be coming because of uncertainty in the Strait of Hormuz.
If the strait remains closed, into the month of June, I think by July 4, we'll be at all-time record highs.
Alex Stone, ABC News.
At our briefing, Dr. Maria Van Kerkhove, head of epidemic preparedness for the World Health Organization, gives an update on the health status of passengers on a cruise ship involved in a hantavirus outbreak.
7 individuals of the 147 passengers and crew have been reported ill. Sadly, 3 have died. 1 patient is in intensive care in South Africa, although we understand that this patient is improving, while 2 patients are still on board the ship and are being prepared for medical evacuation to the Netherlands for treatment.
Generative artificial intelligence has become more popular recently. People and companies are using it now more than ever. Some companies like Coke even have an entire commercial made of using it. Our reporter Evan Alfred spoke with a local video producer on whether it has affected his business or not.
Taylor Morton, owner and employee of Mort's Media, has been creating content for small local businesses and sports teams for the past 4 years. Morton says the recent increase in generative AI has yet to impact his work, and he does not believe it will for the foreseeable future.
Well, I filmed with Delaney's Coffee Shop for their grand opening event, and even the owner of the coffee shop would I feel very strange about that if I recreated him to answer questions about his coffee shop.
Morton believes that no matter how advanced generative AI gets, the stories he tells will always keep him in business. Evan Alfreds, BCIT News.
Now in entertainment news, Tony Awards nominations have started. Hamilton-born actress Casey Levy is among the Canadians nominated for Tony Awards this year. She's up for Best Leading Actress in a Musical for her role as Mother in Ragtime. The Tony Awards will be handed out on June 7th. Meanwhile, the Titanic parody featuring the music of Celine Dion is up for 4 Tonys. Canadian producer Chad Rogers says the Tony-nominated musical is seizing the moment when there's an appetite for high-camp ensemble comedy. Rogers tells the Canadian press the show came at just the right time.
So I don't mean to commercialize a great piece of art and comedy, but people like Celine Dion globally. People are still very interested in Titanic, and there's a real moment for high camp ensemble comedy. And we saw that with breakout successes like O'Mary on Broadway last year.
The Rolling Stones announced a new album today. It is their follow-up to 2023's Hackney Diamonds. Speculation surrounding a new Stones album has been going around for weeks. Leading up to their announcement, billboards and with the band's iconic mouth and tongue logo began appearing in major cities around the world. On Sunday, the band shared a slide puzzle graphic, which fans believe to be the album cover, depicting a cartoonish collage of the members' faces. And now in weather, temperature records continue to fall across BC. as unseasonably warm weather persists. Environment Canada says Vancouver's high temperature on Monday reached almost 24 degrees. The weather forecast agency says communities highs on Monday. That's all for your news at 3:30. I'm Raisin Velasco. This is BCIT's The Crow.
Everything is changing to digital. Everything is online. People aren't just waiting for the 6 o'clock news anymore. People want their news right now. They want to be able to go onto their smartphone, onto the internet, and see the news that they want to see.
Vancouver is growing at, a really rapid rate, the Lower Mainland even, and with the tools that we're given here, we're able to cover all of that.
Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Radhika Sikakane.
In the program, they really leave it up to you. I mean, the help is there when you need it, figuring out how to use the programs like Premiere, Audition, and figuring out how to use the cameras. But it's up to you to sort of experiment and figure out what you can do when you go out in the field.
They brought candles and flowers to remember the student who lost her life yesterday.
Theresa May says the international community condemns Moscow.
They really make sure that you know the basics and you are able to put out a quality product.
I'm Brady Tretnero.
And I'm Radhika Sikakane. Thank you for tuning in to BCIT Magazine.
afternoon and welcome back to BCIT's The Crow. I'm Emma Connolly and these are your sports headlines for 3:45. It's draft lottery day for the National Hockey League, and in just 15 minutes the balls will be drawn and we will know which team will have the number 1 pick for the 2026 NHL Draft in late June. Reporter Karen Rebo explains how the big night works.
Teams and hockey fans watching it live will see 4 ping pong balls drawn from a machine. The team randomly assigned the corresponding 4-number combination will select first when the actual draft gets underway, June 26th in Buffalo. The Vancouver Canucks, who finished last this season, have a 25.5% chance of receiving the first overall pick. The Chicago Blackhawks have the second best odds, and the New York Rangers, the Calgary Flames, the Toronto Maple Leafs, and the Winnipeg Jets could also land the top pick with some luck.
But the real conversation is Gavin McKenna or Ivar Stenberg. The choice between the two has been debated for months as to who will be the number 1 pick. McKenna showed his talent this past season during his freshman year at Penn State in the NCAA, and Stenberg made a name for himself during these past World Junior Championships. With the lottery draft in just 15, we'll be one step closer to ending the debate. Tampa Bay Lightning captain Victor Hedman revealed Tuesday that his absence in the final weeks of the season was caused by a need to address his mental health. Hedman didn't provide specifics about what he's been dealing with. He didn't play in Tampa Bay's final 22 games of the season, including the 7 playoff matchups in the first-round loss to the Montreal Canadiens. Hedman had been around the team in recent weeks, even taking part in some skates. But his last game was in mid-March. 35-year-old Swedish defenseman had been with the team for all 17 of his NHL seasons. The PGA Tour announced today a trio of Canadians will tee up for the PGA Championship next week in Newtown Square, Pennsylvania. Nick Taylor of Abbotsford was named to one of the 3. No Canadian man has won a major since Mike Weir at the 2003 Masters. BC Rugby has the final Senior Club Finals this weekend at South Surrey Athletic Park. 7 teams will take the pitch Saturday with a variety of different divisions, all the way from Division 3 to Premiers. First game is at 10:15 in the morning, and last game starts at 4:30 in the afternoon. The NAIA regular season has come to an end. After late season success, Tucker Wissink reports on the postseason ahead for the UBC men's baseball team.
As the season comes to a close, the UBC Thunderbirds men's baseball team is heading to the NAIA playoffs. A big reason for their success is Braden Scott, who led the team with a .388 batting average and 30 RBIs. And on the mound, Miles Chamberlain anchored the pitching staff with a .314 ERA and an impressive 10-1 record. The Thunderbirds also led their conference in road wins, a trend commonly seen in championship-caliber teams. The NAIA playoffs run from May 11th to 14th, and UBC will look to carry their late-season momentum into a deep postseason run. Tucker Wissink, BCIT News.
The PWHL playoffs are still underway as the Minnesota Frost visit Lavelle Place to take on the Montreal Victoire in Game 4 tonight. Controversy surrounds the game as Minnesota forward Britta Curl-Salemi serves a 1-game suspension for an incident that took place Saturday night. It also resparks the conversation of Curl-Salemi's public views. She is known to be booed in every rink she plays on. Her social media has liked posts that include racist and homophobic commentary. Curl-Salemi also partnered up with an anti-trans organization, Fierce Athletics. Since her selection in the 2024 PWHL draft, both the league and Frost team staff have denied media access to her on multiple occasions. Game 2 of the second-round series between the Minnesota Wild and Colorado Avalanche take place tonight. Philip Gustafson will be your starter for the goaltender for the Wild, and Scott Wedgwood is to start for the Avalanche. Puck drop is 5 p.m. in Denver, Colorado. The battle for the BCHL Cup continues as Berks Bandits are a long way from home to take on the Cranbrook Bucks for Game 3. Bandits currently lead the series 2-0, and puck drop is at 6. And on the coast, the Spruce Kings visit the Nanaimo Clippers, and the Clippers lead that series 2-0. Puck drop is 7 p.m. That's all your sports headlines. I'm Emma Connolly, and this was BCIT's The Crow.
Stay tuned for more on BCIT's 1680.
everything is changing to digital. Everything is online. People aren't just waiting for the 6 o'clock news anymore. People want their news right now. They want to be able to go onto their smartphone, onto the internet, and see the news that they want to see.
Vancouver is growing at, a really rapid rate, the Lower Mainland even, and with the tools that we're given here, we're able to cover all of that.
Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Radhika Sikakane.
In the program, they really leave it up to you. I mean, the help is there when you need it, figuring out how to use the programs like Premiere, Audition, and figuring out how to use the cameras. But it's up to you to sort of experiment and figure out what you can do when you go out in the field.
They brought candles and flowers to remember the student who lost her life yesterday.
Theresa May says the international community condemns Moscow.
They really make sure that you know the basics and you are able to put out a quality product.
I'm Brady Tretanero.
And I'm Radhika Sikakane. Thank you for tuning in to BCIT Magazine.
everything is changing to digital. Everything is online. People aren't just waiting for the 6 o'clock news anymore. People want their news right now. They want to be able to go onto their smartphone, onto the internet, and see the news that they want to see.
Vancouver is growing at, a really rapid rate, the Lower Mainland even, and with the tools that we're given here, we're able to cover all of that.
Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Radhika Sikakane.
In the program, they really leave it up to you. I mean, the help is there when you need it, figuring out how to use the programs like Premiere, Audition, and figuring out how to use the cameras. But it's up to you to sort of experiment and figure out what you can do when you go out in the field.
They brought candles and flowers to remember the student who lost her life yesterday.
Theresa May says the international community condemns Moscow.
They really make sure that you know the basics and you are able to put out a quality product.
I'm Brady Tretnero.
And I'm Radhika Sikakane. Thank you for tuning in to BCIT Magazine.